being the fastest quarterback you've never seen. I'll be right back. There's no quicker way to get into DFS. Play Super Draft today and see for yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the year. I got Hulkamania out. You can't see it because I got my background. I don't want nobody to see the blinds. But it's Wrestlemania week. We got my man from the Amazon Prime stand-up show, stand-up comedy. What do we call it? Stand-up special. What's it called? Who's With Me?
Who's With Me on Amazon Prime debuted at #1.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Jeremy Nunez. Jeremy, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I am about as excited as possible for WrestleMania, and that means if I'm overloaded on Ritalin, that's how excited I am.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy told me off air that this is going to be his last WWE show. He says, if I'm ever going to do a wrestling show again, it better be for AEW or Impact Wrestling or Major League Wrestling or AAA Wrestling. This other man, he doesn't need no introduction. He's the owner of WrestleCrap.com. He's the co-author of The Death of WCW. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only R.D. Reynolds. R.D., how you doing?
Look, see, I can shill right away. We should just have a picture of this up instead of my ugly face. But
you know, because this is not live, we're probably going to have that picture.
Oh, good. So you are going to cover my face.
Yeah, as I'm talking right now, the audience is going to see the book. Like right now, they're seeing the book.
You can do such sorcery? But I'm not good with these computer things. 22 years of WrestleCrap.com. I still don't quite know what the internet is.
Who does the coding for the website?
That's probably the guy that's done it since day one, 22 years ago. So,
oh, okay.
Probably.
Oh, that guy. I heard he's real cool.
Yeah, that's very open for debate. I don't know who's been lying to you about R.D. Reynolds being this cool thing, but let's be realistic. Anything but. Kind of like a 47-hour WrestleMania that we're all getting ready to watch. I know Jeremy said that he already has his pillows out. What? Okay. If I may I ask a question to you two first?
Yeah.
I know you're supposed to be conducting the interview, and it's not supposed to be.
No, go ahead, RD. You got it?
Some of this is just survival tactics. Okay, we have this WrestleMania that's coming up. It's 2 days. There's an NXT show before it. There's SmackDown before that. There's Raw after that. I said 47 hours before. Actually, whenever you start thinking about, okay, it's going to start on like Friday night with SmackDown, and then it's 2 days of it's the stupendous and what. How on earth is anyone staying awake for this? What are your tips? I'm an old man. You see the gray beard. How on earth am I supposed to stay awake for this?
Well,
Please do explain. Go.
Well, I'm not gonna sit there and lie and say that I've been this New Japan Pro Wrestling fan for 20 years. I haven't. Just last year, I started watching New Japan Pro Wrestling, and it seems to me they've been doing this 2-day event for Wrestle Kingdom. Matter of fact, they've been doing the 2-day event for all their major events for a long, long time. And I guess WWE's picking that up and making WrestleMania into this big special. I guess I don't know.
Something?
I gotta ask you. Are they buying? So if you buy a ticket for Saturday night, do you get the other night free, or is it two separate?
No. Oh no! Come on, Uncle Vince Moneybags isn't going to miss that. Of course not. What's wrong with you? Did you just get off on this train? Jeremy, how are you staying? What is your plan? What kind of sustenance are you? What kind of intake? Hopefully, nothing illegal. We don't want to do that. But what are you attempting to do? I mean, are you going to get the toothpicks on the eyes? Or exactly what are we doing here?
So I will tell you, RD. So you may not know much about me. I wrestled on the Indies for 4 years. Sounds like about right when you started, and then I've been a stand-up comedian for 20 now. So I have been on the road for a long time, lots of sleep-deprived nights and having to still perform later. So I'm going to tell you the secret.
Okay.
Dayquil, Mountain Dew, Red Bull.
Do you mix in a pot, like in my giant WWE Niagara Falls cup? This thing's like, I don't know how many, I don't know, it's huge. If I filled this, what parts of each should be in this 30 no, it's probably like a 46-ounce cup.
Okay, so you're going to go probably 10% of that is going to be equal parts of the Mountain Dew, the Red Bull, and the Dayquil.
Okay.
And then you're going to go 90% Coke.
Okay. I specifically said nothing illegal, but it's okay.
But
well, I'll tell you.
I got a question. Go ahead, Jeremy. Go ahead. I got a question.
I was going to say, I don't want to mention which 80s wrestlers trained me. But
a lot of times that was the payday. Is what I was told.
We'll talk about Ricky Morton later. I got a question. So, as a wrestling fan, and who's going to stay at home and watch, this should be cool, don't you think?
I am of the mindset that quality over quantity. I think it would be. I to be fair, I think it will be an interesting show. It will be an interesting show, if nothing else.
I mean, I personally, besides 2010, other than 2010, I've never seen a bad WrestleMania. So, I mean, they bring it on WrestleMania, so maybe they're gonna bring it Saturday and Sunday.
I think that's funny. RD. Say, well, we don't know if it's going to be great. It's going to be interesting, though. That's like how you describe a date that went really awkward.
Absolutely,
it was interesting.
She had, a third eye. Was kind of off on this side. She was very interesting. She was very interesting. I think, but I think it will be. I don't know. I'm not sitting there going, man, I can't wait to get my Dave Meltzer star ratings out so I can see how many. It's 3 3/4. I'm not looking for that, but I think, with Cody debuting and everything else, and Austin, and it'll be interesting.
You think Cody is going to debut?
Of course, he's going to debut. Let me take that back. Because, Seth's opponent is Vince's handpicked man. I think it's either Cody or Jeremy Nunez. So I'm not sure if they could lure you out of retirement for this.
So we just had Preston Vance yesterday, and we're chatting with him.
Whoa, Jeremy, we're recording this. We got to make it seem like Preston Vance was here right now. And
I misspoke. I mean, he just got off the call.
I saw him leave the green room when I was coming in.
Right now. But before he ruins it and shows everybody the third wall, Jeremy, tell who we're going to have on today, please.
I don't understand.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we got AEW star Preston Vance. Know him as number 10. And we also have the Total Nonstop Action Hall of Famer and WWE Hall of Famer Jeff Jarrett here today, right here, after RD and Jeremy just screwed up. I'm not going to edit that either, by the way. I'm going to keep that in.
You should.
You just ruined everything, Jeremy.
So I'm the warm-up act, is what you're saying.
No, you're half host.
You're the curtain jerker, man. Yeah,
I am. I trust me. It's far more than I deserve, so it's all right.
He's when. So I don't even know how to approach this, Joe, but chatting with Preston Vance, I am going to anticipate. I asked him about Cody, and I said, hey, some folks, including me, kind of think this might be a work. And he sort of laughed and said he didn't have any details. And I think he was laughing at me for being dumb enough to think it was a work.
Oh, yeah. What everyone is going to see tonight, I'm going ahead and just tell y'all, it's edited out because the guy who came on with Cody worked for AEW. He told me I had to edit it out, but I'll tell you what happened. He didn't say we couldn't explain what happened. So Jeremy was talking about that, and I was making a little joke because on the side of our web stream, we can see the face of people who are not on camera. And I was going, oh, such and such is getting mad. We're talking about Cody. Oh, no. And then you see on the little private chat, he's like, take my name off the show. Keep everything fine. All the Cody questions are good, but my name should not be mentioned.
So you're saying that Preston Vance, on the condition of anonymity, said such and such?
No, such and such was another
okay, I just wanted to make sure I was following.
It was some gentleman that worked for AEW who came
like the
along
PR
with
staff.
Preston. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right.
And so Joe mentions that the PR guy looked uncomfortable that we were asking about Cody. Mm-hmm. And then the PR guy's like, don't talk about me. Take that out. So,
yeah. Which we will.
We'll just tell you what he said. That's kind of rude, but
he didn't
whatever.
He didn't say we couldn't talk about it. And Jeremy ruined everything because I told Jeremy, I said, make sure you wear the same thing you wore today or yesterday. Wear the same shirt so we won't, look like we taped
I
this.
thought this was all in one
take.
I thought this was all in one take. I was.
And that's my mistake also. I didn't realize I just happen to be wearing the same shirt because I don't do laundry that often.
Oh, so
good for you. Think of the environment.
You wasn't paying attention to my instructions. You just decided to be lazy. Okay.
My wife's on strike.
Well,
I'm more impressed that Joey there has we've determined you have the fake background or whatever, right? Couldn't you have found anything more interesting than a blank white wall?
Well, we got my show 3rd and 3, and we got
3rd and 3, okay.
And we got Stingray's advertisement for Tide 100.9.
Okay.
And then we use the background for what we do for Rolling with the Tide.
No, I was talking about your background right behind you, the white wall.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I see.
You talking about my? Oh,
like literally right behind you.
Oh,
if you're gonna
I
have a
see.
fake background, like do something interesting, like a jail cell, or not
I
that
mean-
you would have ever been in a jail cell. This week,
I mean,
I'm
we got
sure
this
that's
one
the
for.
case.
I used this one for Rolling with the Tide, and of course, I
Okay.
used this one for 3rd and 3. And
Okay.
of course, if you see what really is behind me,
What's wrong
once
with
again-
the curtains?
once again, RD, you ruined the illusion for everybody. Thank
I
you,
just
Jeremy
try and
and
keep it
RD.
real. I just try and keep it real.
Hey, the only thing real about this conversation is professional wrestling. But speaking of professional wrestling, let's go ahead to our first interview. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only AEW's number 10 from the Dark Order, Preston Vance.
So, as you know, my favorite wrestling promotion, AEW, and one of my favorite guys on the whole roster is Preston Vance, number 10 from the Dark Order, and he's joining us. I can't believe we're experiencing this.
Oh, yes. Ladies
What's
and
up?
gentlemen, number 10. What's going on?
What's up?
Yo, quick
So-
joke for you. Quick joke. Because we got
Let's hear it.
one of the best comedians on Amazon Prime. I like to say I came up with this, but John Cena was in the hospital, and he asked where was he, and he said, and the doctor said, ICU, and then he said, no, you don't.
Yeah. I've heard that. Didn't come up.
That's funny.
So, you know, what's going on in AEW right now, Preston?
Bunch of stuff. We just came off of a big pay-per-view. What was that, 2 weeks ago now? We're in South Carolina this coming week. There's always cool stuff going on in AEW. There's always new people being signed. We just bought Ring of Honor, which is huge. There's always AEW is always kind of the headline of the wrestling world.
Let me ask you this. There's always something I always like to ask professional wrestlers. Who's that one guy that you want to be in the ring with that you haven't had the opportunity to be
Of all time?
of all time?
Damn, that's hard. There's a few for me. Definitely The Rock. And another one who you already kind of mentioned, John Cena.
I think you could take John Cena. The Rock.
So he was
you
always-
probably don't have a chance with The Rock, but John Cena.
Cena
you
was
may have
always
a
a
chance.
Cena was always a big inspiration for me growing up. So I feel like he's probably my number one guy I would like to be in the ring with.
We're talking about John Cena. AEW has signed so many WWE superstars. What's the locker room like right now with all this WWE talent?
I think it's great. For one, we get to work with different people who, a lot of us have never worked with before. It creates kind of a whole new friendly competition. I personally like it. I think with all the new guys, I think it's great. I think it adds a whole another layer to the company.
And speaking of changes with the company, hold on, Jeremy, you can get your time. Hold on.
I'm dying to jump in, brother.
Speaking of the changes with the company, Cody has left AEW. What's the locker room like right now with no Cody Rhodes?
It's definitely different. Publicly, I was very close with Cody and still am. But it's kind of one of those things where it's like with anything, like life goes on. The world's not going to stop because he left AEW. And like I said, like AEW is not gonna stop. So I think I wish him the best of luck. He's one of my literally best friends ever. So everyone has their reasons for doing the things that they choose to do in life. And at the end of the day, as long as he's happy, that's what matters most to me. From a friend standpoint, not a wrestling standpoint. I would love to if I worked with Cody for the rest of my life. Like I love Cody, but sometimes things don't go that way. So like I said, the AEW world is not going to stop, and it clearly hasn't.
So,
Well,
Joey,
no.
I got to jump in, Joey.
Jeremy, I got one more. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Preston, there's a lot of people, including myself, that think the Cody thing is a work, and he's still with AEW. Are you on record saying it's not a work?
I don't. I know no details.
Okay.
Look, Preston, you've been doing a lot of tag team wrestling. You know, do you prefer tag team wrestling or singles, or do you want to go back to singles?
No, I prefer singles wrestling by a long shot. On the indies, I never really did tag team wrestling much. When I got brought into AEW and the Dark Order by Brody, his whole thing was at that point it was Stu and Uno, and then Silver and Reynolds, and then him, obviously. And the whole point for me was kind of be the singles guy of the group under him. And then I got hurt pretty quickly after I signed my contract. And then we brought in Alan 5 and then kind of put me and him together to do some stuff. I don't hate tag wrestling. Like tagging with Silver and stuff is fun because he's fun to feed off of and all that. But I much prefer singles wrestling.
Okay. Preston, I got an easy question for you now. There's a debate amongst me and my friends who benches more between you and Johnny Hungy.
Oh, me by a long shot. By a long shot.
Now, so my podcast partner, he's sort of the Jim Cornette of our group, and he likes to nitpick stuff. And so this question is coming from him. Okay. And I will say I've wondered this myself. You're a good-looking guy.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you under a mask?
That's how I was brought in. I mean, like on the indies, I never wore a mask. And then the whole character, like the symbolism, was Brody slid me the mask in my debut vignette, and now it was kind of like I'm one of them, like one of the Dark Order. So I still wear it, kind of as an ode to Brody. Am I married to the mask? No. Do I think I'll wear it forever? Honestly, I don't think so, but who knows?
Well, because I was going to say, my wife and I watch Roads to the Top, and I'm comfortable in my looks, but my wife was asking a lot of questions about you. Just saying. And then I also wanted to ask, Brody was fantastic, one of my favorites too. Do you before Brody came in, sort of Evil Uno was sort of the leader of the group before Brody came in. Do you think the group needs to kind of go back to having a leader of some sort, or you prefer sort of everybody's equal?
I think we're going to be that rare group where it's going to be everybody's equal. Just because I don't think we'll ever be able to replace Brody, nor would I ever want to look like we're trying to. That's just such large shoes to fill. I think as a group, like as a whole in the group, we can all agree that we kind of will just be even playing field without having that one true like group leader.
Well, -1's doing pretty good filling those shoes.
I think, yeah, the choice for the.
Jeremy's laughing. I'm telling you, hey, about 10 years, genetics is genetics.
Exactly.
Like 4. Whooping everybody. Y'all wait and see. I'm telling you. Go ahead, Jeremy. I know you down and talk. Go ahead.
I'll tell you what. I don't remember which episode, but -1 was out there one time, and Anna Jay went to give him a hug, and maybe Ty Conti also, and he was getting in there. He knew what he was doing. he was getting pretty tight on the hug in there. Yeah.
It's funny. His mom actually texted me yesterday, and they were like at the beach or whatever, and she always tells me that Brody is literally just like a mini version of me. So she's like, I can already see he's going to be a handful with all the girls when he's older.
Now, if I remember right, you're his favorite wrestler. Isn't that true?
Yeah, fortunately.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. So, now I'm going to ask a health and fitness question. So, what's your protein powder of choice? Can I ask that?
Ooh, yeah. I like to try a bunch of new products. So I'm not one guy who's like, I find this product and stick with it forever. I like to try like the new stuff that comes out and see if I like it. And honestly, my favorite kind of protein are the ones that's already like not the powders, ones that's already mixed up, like in the things you just buy from like the grocery store. Like they're already pre-made, which it sucks because they're way more expensive that way. But I like them when I can just grab the bottle and go. I always pack like every TV loop for the 3 days. I always pack like 8 bottles of protein in my suitcase.
That's the way to do it, man. Okay, I know we're running out of time, so 2 quick questions for you. Number one, see, I remember back in the '80s when the jobbers came in. You know, the main sign talent, you know, got a little rough with them sometimes. You ever have? I remember not long ago you had the security guards, and you got to have your way with several security guards. Did you lay in a few clotheslines a little harder than usual?
I can sometimes be a little stiff with sometimes you're feeling it, you know, you kind of see red. I try not though, because I mean I've been in that position before as an extra, and like you never want to get hurt or hurt anybody, but if I do it, it's definitely not on purpose. It's kind of just heat of the moment.
Sure.
Hold on, Jeremy. You know, that brings me to a good question. You know, I talk to Jeremy sometimes and I tell him, you know, I'm the type of guy that still watches wrestling for wrestling. I like the matches. I still see it as a sport. Do you wish that we can go back in time and kind of just watch wrestling for what it is portrayed to be, a sport?
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's got to be a good mix of both because every fan is different. You know, some fans really love the style of just all sport, and then others, you know, they like the entertainment aspect, which I think growing up as a kid, I was into the entertainment aspect because like I never, you know, watched someone and was like, oh, I'm a fan of them because they're a good worker. No, like I like The Rock because he did the eyebrow and his catchphrases. Right. I didn't know if it was good or not, which he was, but like back then I didn't know. You know, those guys.
You know, just earlier today I was watching some old Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
And they was beating the hell out of each other.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of wish we would go back to that. You know, but I guess that's just me. But when you talk to wrestling fans today, so especially talking to somebody like Jeremy, you know, you know, who's the best worker? I'm like, who's gonna kick who's ass?
Right.
That's what I'm about. You know.
Yeah.
But
that's how I was growing up too. Same way. Yeah.
Yeah, especially on the playground. You know.
He was gonna get beat up.
Yeah. Jeremy used to get beat up all the time. I said, Jeremy, you know, listen, you got to fight back. Jeremy, you got any last questions, man?
Okay, so Preston, my last one for you. If you can fantasy book yourself into the main event of the next big pay-per-view, it's a gimmick match. They've got, you know, you guys have done the cages, the stadium stampede, the dog collar match. What's the match you're in, and who you taking on?
I would love to do. So this is weird because I said I'm not a big tag guy, but I have this whole like vision in my head. So me and Wardlow are real life like best friends, right? Oh. So I would do a tag team, me and Wardlow versus Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. And I don't care whatever match, but that would be. I have a lot of dream matches at AEW. I would love to wrestle Spears just for the whole 10 versus 10 thing. I would love to wrestle Miro because he's like one of my favorites. He's, you know, like a brawler. And then I would love to do a third Moxley match.
Oh,
very cool.
Ooh.
You know, just to do a bit of an 80s throwback, you could do that tag team match you're talking about against Scorpio and Ethan Page. And what you could do is have Dan Lambert in a shark cage up above.
There you go.
You know, if you did, I must have missed the episode. Have you ever been in the ring with Sting?
I've wrestled Darby for the TNT title, but never. Like,
I saw that match. That was on AEW Dark, wasn't it?
No, that was not. No, that was my first match in AEW ever before the 10 character. But I wrestled Darby for the TNT title back in I think June 2020, May 2020.
Okay, but
He was just ringside
Would
match.
you like to get in the ring with somebody like Sting? Like Sting was my man back in the day. Hogan, Sting, and The Rock, and a Dusty Rhodes, and
Yeah.
these were my guys. But
Yeah, you don't get much bigger than Sting.
oh yeah, well yeah, Sting, especially where I was from. But ladies and gentlemen, we got the next AEW champion right here, Preston Vance. You can see him on AEW Rampage on Friday nights. Am I correct?
Yep.
And AEW Dynamite on Wednesday nights. And what's the next pay-per-view?
The next pay-per-view would be, I think it's Double or Nothing in May in Vegas. It's got to be. Yeah.
There you go.
So get your $400 ready and buy that pay-per-view because ladies and gentlemen, the one and only number 10, Preston Vance. All right, that was a good interview. Even though Jeremy messed it up for everybody. Now we got a new background.
Fantastic.
We're doing it live.
So, RD,
thank you for not allowing me to ask any questions, by the way. You pushed me over in the corner or something. I didn't even understand that.
RD, what do you know about Preston Vance? You know what I mean? You think
He's
I know
10.
you see him work. Yeah, he's 10.
He's 10. Dark Order.
You know anything else about him?
Well, I know I didn't get to ask him. I wanted to know a lot about him. I was going to ask a bunch of questions so I would know more about him. But like I said, I didn't get the chance. I was shunned and whatever.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's fine.
Jeremy,
See where I rank.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
And if I may do a little follow-up to that interview. So RD, you aren't aware, but I have for a while had a podcast specific to AEW, and my podcast partner on there is another stand-up comedian who essentially is the Jim Cornette of the show. He likes to nitpick everything about Dynamite. Okay, and I sent him a little message and said, if you could ask Preston Vance one question, what would it be? And I accurately guessed it right away. So I'm curious, if you were a nitpicker, do you have, I want to see if maybe I would nail it for you as well. Is there one thing that seems to stand out that you'd want to ask right away about Preston Vance? Why is he 10?
No.
You know what? That's even simpler than the one I had. Well done. Mine is, you're a good looking guy. Why are you under a mask?
Yeah, why are you in a mask? If you was paying attention to the interview, you would have listened to that question. But obviously, you wasn't paying attention.
I wasn't even getting audio on the interview. I saw there's a lot of static. I don't even know how they're static. I don't know what kind of connection this is that I got static, like I was getting the rabbit ears out trying to catch Channel 4. But
oh my goodness gracious. All right, let's go to night one of WrestleMania. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and hit it off. Picks. Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. I'm taking, they're going to go over Ronda Rousey. I can't even say her name. So I got Wanda. Who you
Wanda.
got? Wanda, the former UFC champion.
WandaVision. Wanda Maximoff.
Wanda. Okay, I got Wanda. I got Rousey. Is that how you say her last name? Rousey?
I thought, do you not watch these shows?
No.
I thought you were the WWE super fan.
No, I have not watched Raw and SmackDown probably in 2 years. I watched the highlights on YouTube.
You're watching New Japan, apparently.
Honestly, RD, that's exactly what I do. I watch Peacock, and I watch YouTube, and I watch the Impact Wrestling app, so I can watch all the TNA, Christian Cage, and all the Asylum $9.99 pay-per-views back in 2002 and 2004. I watch all the old stuff. Matter of fact, I just got finished watching Roddy Piper Greatest Hits. With the war that settled the score and all those old Piper pits. That's what I watch. Unfortunately, I don't have time to watch 3 hours of Monday Night Raw, so I just catch the highlights on YouTube.
You don't have 3 hours to watch Monday Night Raw, so you're going to watch 8 hours of WrestleMania Night 1.
Well, yes, I'm going to watch WrestleMania.
Okay.
I watched all the pay-per-views for WWE. I
Gotcha.
would watch all the pay-per-views for AEW.
Right.
However, they're too expensive. And second, the last
You're
one
cheap.
I bought,
Mhm.
they're not cheap. They're like $60.
I didn't say they're cheap. I said you're cheap.
Oh, I am cheap. No, I'm cheap. But the last pay-per-view I did buy was supposed to have an exploding ring,
Right.
and it didn't explode. And
Right.
I was like, "What the hell is this?"
There were some sparklers. I don't know what else you wanted. Ronda Rousey will
You
win
got-
this match.
Okay, Jeremy, who you got?
Yeah, I think Ronda is going to mess up Charlotte so bad that even Andrade doesn't recognize her.
All right, so Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch. Who y'all got? I got Becky Lynch.
Somebody's driving a Belair. What?
Bianca Belair. Is that how you say her name?
Bianca Belair.
Belair.
Bianca Belair.
Okay, whatever. Who you got? Who do you got? Becky Lynch or Bianca? Bianca. Whatever.
Bianca.
Is this speech class? Who you got?
Bianca. I think you need one. I was just saying who I thought was going to win. You're the one that thought I was educating you.
Okay, so you got Bianca. Okay, Jeremy, who you got?
So I'm going to give you not only the winner of this match, but where the storyline goes from here.
Fantastic.
So I did see a quick clip of Raw where there's sort of Becky tries to cut Bianca's hair, and then Bianca cuts a little bit of Becky's hair. I think, no doubt, Bianca's going to go over on whatever night one this is of the WrestleMania extravaganza. So I think Bianca goes over. Then Becky, she's going to have to fix her hair somehow, converts it to an AJ Styles-like soccer mom haircut.
Ooh, yeah.
And the gimmick becomes she always wants a manager but can't find one. So she just yells, "I need a manager."
She would be soccer mom smoking hot.
Yes, sure.
It's surprising how you can see this in the future. Like this is written or something.
That's why you pay him top dollar to be on this show. Let's be realistic.
Thanks, RD. I
Yes.
appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins versus a mystery opponent. Some people think it's going to be Cody Rhodes. Some people think it's going to be Jeremy Nunes. It could be my favorite wrestler of all time, Hulk Hogan. We don't know. Who do you think is going to win?
I'll let I will state that it will not be Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, probably not. He barely walk right now. He's got like 4 hips.
Oh,
He has 4 hips.
I meant 4 hip
Is he
replacements.
What is he?
Hey, he's a mortar. That's what he is.
so it's tough to predict the outcome. We don't technically know the match, but I will say, if this is not Cody Rhodes, this thing is going to be more awkward than Cody's neck tattoo.
That is
Nothing.
an ugly
Nothing's
tattoo.
more- Nothing
What?
more awkward than that.
You know, I've seen some neck tattoos in my day, but that tattoo is like an eyesore. I don't know who told him that was going to be a cool thing. That is another reason why I can't watch AEW because of Cody Rhodes.
Well, if he's in WWE, are you not gonna watch WWE because he's there?
I watch the pay-per-views just like I have to every time.
Well, what if he shows up and he's Seth's opponent? Are you gonna quit watching?
I hope it's like y'all call it a storyline. I hope it's a storyline where he had like a neck injury. He has to wear like a neck brace.
He has to have his neck removed.
Hey, I write wrestling is probably as good as Vince Russo. By the way, tell your boy I said hello.
He is not. Well, after you just insulted him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
I'm
on a
gonna say
show
hello.
where they were saying what a terrible writer you were, Vince. Hey, they were saying hi. Would you
I
like to
didn't
be on the
say that.
show?
I did not say that. First of all, I never said I wanted him on the show. And second, I didn't say that he was a terrible writer.
You just did.
No, I did not. I said Peacock. Peacock said it. If you buy Peacock for $9.99 a month, Peacock would show you old nitros, and it'll tell you that Vince Russo can't write wrestling. That wasn't me.
RD, to clarify, you just said they said. I was just sitting here.
I'm sorry.
I didn't say anything about Vince Russo. The Mysterios versus. Wait, hang on. So, Jeremy, who do you think is going to win? The mystery opponent, Seth Rollins, or the mystery opponent? I think the mystery opponent.
Okay, I'll go. I'll go mystery opponent. I mean,
I'm gonna take the field. It's Seth versus the world.
Jeremy, you supposed to be the comedian, man. Why is RD doing all the good jokes?
Well, because he. Well, you know what? Just keep moving, Joe.
Mysterios.
The Mysterios versus The Miz and Logan Paul. They got the celebrity. Celebrities usually win. I got The Miz and Logan Paul.
Dom turns on Ray.
No.
Papa don't preach. Yep.
Or Jeremy?
Yeah, I anticipate a split also, but I think it'd be a weird time to do it because Dom is not really. I mean, he's about as valuable as a knob on a tree without his dad there with him. You know what I mean? So I just think if he does turn on him, the next match is going to be Dom versus Ray, special guest referee Jerry Springer.
Dominic the Knob Mysterio.
There you go. The knob.
I see it on the marquee.
Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin. Of course, I think Happy Corbin is as entertaining as my last Vince Russo joke as a Nitro in 2000, December 2000. That's how entertaining he is. And that joke wasn't funny. And since that was my last Vince Russo joke, I wish that it was funny, but it wasn't. So Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin. I got Drew McIntyre. RD, who you got?
I will take Drew McIntyre for the win.
Jeremy?
And I am also going Drew here simply because they're going to elevate him to the the next big championship picture. And on top of that, Corbin seems to be like the Washington Generals of pay-per-views.
Krusty gonna bet on him then? Yes.
The Usos versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs.
Boogs.
Is that the guitar guy that messes up his theme song?
I thought that was Man Mountain Rock. Yes, it is Boogs. Yes.
Oh,
sir.
Well, I'm taking my man Shinsuke Nakamura, who should be the WWE Heavyweight Championship picture, should be fighting Brock Lesnar. Of course, whoever is promoting these fights and whoever's putting these people in the ring together don't realize you got Shinsuke Nakamura and he should be fighting Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, but they got him in a tag team match. But that's just my opinion. I got Shinsuke Nakamura. Who you got, RD?
I say, ooh. Jeremy, you say?
Oh, I'm with you 100%. And the Nakamura Boogs tag team seems so awkward and not even. But I do not see that these two could be potentially friends. You know what I mean? It makes no sense. It'd be like hearing, oh, the latest Hollywood it couple is George Clooney and Courtney Love. I mean
Shinsuke Nakamura, if you watching, buy the rights to your theme song and go to AEW or back to New Japan Pro Wrestling.
If you're watching, we're very sorry. Sorry.
All right, King Woods and Kofi Kingston versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland. RD, you always go first. Go.
New Day.
All right.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And the last night, the main event, Kevin Owens in the KO show is going to have Stone Cold Steve Austin. What do you think Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to do? I have some inside sources says that Stone Cold is just going to come out and drink some beer and not really do anything. That's actually his people told me that. His people actually told me that.
His people.
Yes, his people. His publicists.
His publicist told you this.
Well, you know, when you have to book guests, you have to go through people.
Okay. So you were booking Stone Cold Steve Austin for this show?
No, Stingray was. and Stingray had the balls to contact Stone Cold Steve Austin's people. I have Bret Hart people right here on my phone, and I've been talking to his publicity for like 2 weeks now and texting, trying to get Bret Hart.
Mm-hmm.
That's the balls that we have. We don't care. We'll try to go to the top. We don't care.
Why not?
We don't care. We got 15, 16, 1,700 subscribers. We act like we got 1 million subscribers. We go for the best for our audience. That's why we got R.D. Reynolds and Jimmy Nunes on the show. So, what do you think Stone Cold's going to do?
I think he's going to. It'll be a long, hard-fought battle. Thinking 45, 50 minutes. People will be thinking it's going to a time limit draw. But then he will do the job. I think it's going to last about 5 minutes. He's going to come out and give him a Stone Cold Stunner, drink a bunch of beer, and then everyone will be happy. Yes,
Jeremy.
Well, I cannot disagree. Though I think it would be fantastic if he just came out and like just sat in one of the chairs and he's like, guys, sometimes it's cool if you just hang out and drink a beer. You can chill.
They act like he hasn't been in the ring in 20 years, but didn't Shawn Michaels and Mick Foley and Stone Cold like beat up the Riot family or somebody in 2016 in Dallas?
It was such a memorable WrestleMania. It was one of those WrestleMania moments that is so it burned in our memories that we can't even remember.
But it actually was a match. People act like it. I mean, it was Mick Foley, Shawn Michaels, and Stone Cold. They went in there and they fought. So it's not like act like they was. Why are y'all looking at me like that? They actually got in the ring and beat up some people.
I don't remember this match.
Y'all don't remember Mick Foley and Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold?
Are you partaking of what Jeremy told you that we should be partaking of to get through this WrestleMania? It's a little early.
The cool thing, ladies and gentlemen, the cool thing about this being taped, I can have still shots of the match right here. So while they're making fun of me,
Absolutely.
you're going to see Mick Foley, Shawn Michaels, and Stone Cold coming to the ring and fighting people in 2016
for the six-man tag team match. That was
it was a tag team match. They basically came in there and just like
I thought you just told us it was a match.
I think they had a referee in there. I don't know. I should have watched it before I came. I didn't know we was going to talk about this. I thought the two wrestling knowledge people that these icons of wrestling knowledge here knew about that, but maybe it was just me. Maybe
you're the one that is knowledgeable.
Maybe that's
something. I don't quite know what, but
it's
okay.
While we debate who knows more about professional wrestling, let's get to the interview with the one and only Jeff Jarrett. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Jarrett. Jeff, how are you doing today?
We got me and you struggled through the technical difficulties, but nothing that two good old rednecks can't figure out in 2022. But no, I appreciate you having me on in Dallas as we speak. Man, WrestleMania week, a lot going on. We have our huge show tomorrow night. Got a lot of events, 3 or 4 appearances down here this week in Dallas. So it's that time of year in our industry, as you're well aware. You can call it depends on what sport. It's Super Bowl week, or it's finals, NBA Finals week, or Masters week, Stanley Cup playoff time. However you want to say it. It is. I guess I shouldn't say it's Oscars week after what happened this week, but we won't go into that.
I have to ask you. I got some happy moments. I got some not so happy moments. I got to ask you. Quite frankly, I'm going to start with the unhappy moment. July 9th, 2000, I ordered a pay-per-view. I wanted to see Hollywood Hulk Hogan versus Jeff Jarrett, and I didn't get to see it. I wanted a refund. I didn't get it. How bad did you want to beat up Vince Russo?
Well, Joey,
I really wanted to kick his. Excuse
I
my
bet
language.
you and a few other million folks. So you had to get in line for that one. But we covered that in depth on my podcast. My World drops every Tuesday. But in one of the early, about a year ago, we're approaching the year mark. So we got into that Bash at the Beach incident and all the ins and outs with Russo and Hogan and Bischoff and the powers that be at WCW. And, at the end of the day, me and Booker ended up going out, and I was very happy. I think he's gone on record saying he's happy with it. But it was in our industry, I'll take that as a black eye because we didn't deliver what we had basically told folks, promoted the fact. It didn't work out, but some things happen, and it was an unfortunate instance. So, Joey, here we are, I guess 23 years later. I apologize, pal.
And I'm still pissed. But you know what I'm not pissed about? Total Nonstop Action.
There you go.
I'm telling you right now, from 2004 all the way to, I'd say, 2014, I was watching more Total Nonstop Action than I was watching anything. Because, you had Jeff Jarrett, you had Sting, you had Christian Cage, you had AJ Styles, you had Samoa Joe. You had the best wrestling, hands down.
I'm obviously partial to that brand. Me and my father founded it way back in 2002. But from the beginning, we wanted it to be an alternative. Our very first show is in your state of Alabama, right up the road, 65 in Huntsville. With that organization, lots of ups and downs. But they are approaching their 20-year anniversary, literally. What is it? We're in very into March, April. Well, June 19th, 2002. So June 19th, 2022 will be the 20th anniversary of the organization, and it's still rocking and rolling. But my time spent there, wouldn't trade it for the world, Joey.
Oh, let me ask you this. Do you ever look back at it now and see what it has become? I try to get into it every once in a while. I do have the Impact Plus app. I paid I think $7. I don't know what I pay for it. I like to go back and watch the old TNA days. The King of the Mountain matches and all that good stuff. Sting and Jeff Jarrett in 2006 was a classic. Do you ever look at it now and be like, wow, I founded this and they just ruined it?
Look, everything happens for a reason. As we, and I say we, me and Conrad Thompson, another Alabamian, when we dive into the podcast, it has become even clearer that, really from about 2002 to about 2009, 2010, that was TNA. And then 2010 till, I don't know, you could say about 2013 or 14, it really became what we'll call it Impact Wrestling. And then, different iterations and Anthem took over in 2017, and they're rocking and rolling now. And they have began to put the pieces of the puzzle, or they have put the pieces of the puzzle slowly back together. But it's the landscape is entirely different. The distribution model is entirely different. And, the audience that we had in, 06, 07, 08, and 09, it doesn't even really compare. But I completely understand. It's just the reality of the situation and the distribution methods. So that time is over in my career, and I'm very thankful and grateful. But everything moving along in my world, pardon the pun, is doing just fine.
Speaking of Conrad Thompson, he has the belt that you held 4 times. He actually owns the belt. Do you ever get mad at him and say, "Hey, give me my belt back"?
No, Conrad, we all have a passion in life, and Conrad, from a very young age, he had a thing for the actual ring-worn, authenticated championship titles. And what a collection he has. Obviously, he has the means to do it. And so it's pretty cool when you can walk in his house, and literally it's living history in a lot of ways for the industry that my grandmother got into, over 70 years ago. So it's pretty cool to see that living piece of history or multiple pieces of history that he's collected over the years. And hats off to the guy. He's got a passion for wrestling like none other. I've been in the industry over 35 years. I've got a passion for it. So that's the original thing that connected us outside of business and podcasting and our other business ventures. But it's pretty cool to see a guy with that kind of passion for it.
And for everybody who don't know what I'm talking about, he actually owns the big gold belt worn by Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan. You can tell by the indention in the. I learned this on your podcast actually. Yep. You can learn by the indention on top of the. I never seen that, but every time I go back and watch old Nitros or watch the old TBS shows, you can see the bent in the top part, and I see it every time I watch the old wrestling. But this is a great time to be a wrestling fan because not only we talked about the Impact Wrestling app, you got the New Japan Pro Wrestling app, you got WWE Peacock, you got so much professional wrestling, you got MLW, AEW. There's so much professional wrestling out right now. What's your favorite wrestling that you'd like to watch?
And Conrad and me, we have these conversations, and he's like, dude, you really like it all. And I say, I think I look at it through a different lens, obviously this long in the industry, but I do. I like, my best friend at time and the world's largest network, our buddy called YouTube, Utah, obviously Peacock as well and Impact Plus, but basically jump on YouTube and, I still the pageantry and drama and storytelling mixed with the lucha style, AAA. I'm a huge fan of those guys and have been for years. But I think there's a component out of every brand out there. I was just the special guest referee with NWA and the Crockett Cup, and the event they had the other night right here in my hometown of Nashville was very special. So look, does everyone out there, hit grand slams every time they're up? No, it's too difficult. But with all the different brands that you just referenced, and we could go on and on, there's some, Progress Wrestling based out of the UK, ICW Wrestling based out of Glasgow, Scotland. Those are two promotions that are near and dear to my heart. You may have never really sat down and watched those, but there's a little bit of not good, but great wrestling all around the world, and you just have to go find it. And with technology today, you can.
Did you ever watch wrestling now and say, I wish it was more competition? Because when I say competition, because when I was growing up, I was watching NWA wrestling. I was watching that 605 on TBS. I was even watching, Hulkamania Running Wild, in 84, 85, and all this great wrestling. Even back then when people say, oh, back in the day it was real, now it's fake. But you can watch wrestling now 30 years ago from the 80s and 90s, and you say, wow, it seems so much competition. Like now it's just a bunch of flips, flops, and flips, another flip, then this guy flips, and then pin, 1, 2, false. What I'm trying to ask is, do you wish it was more competition, like back in the day, like when Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes got in there was holds, there were leg locks, and when you got in the cage, it was going to be some blood. And you ever wish it could go back to that?
Well, Joey, here's how I sort of drill that down on that. And I don't know if you're what type of sports you watch on TV. Just last night on ESPN, women's college basketball, Connecticut was playing. The speed of that game, the athleticism of that game, it's almost it doesn't even resemble, with all due respect, it doesn't even really resemble the women's game from 20 years ago. You look at the NFL now, and it's a quarterback's league. You literally almost cannot touch the quarterback, and receivers can go over the middle and pretty much dominate once you get 10 yards deep. The games have changed, not just wrestling, football, basketball. They're doing their best to try to change baseball, hockey. Back in the Gretzky days, his point totals are astronomical. The hockey's a different game. It's just a different era and a different time. I completely respect your thought, but I know we're not going to go back in time. But I have said this multiple times on my podcast, and actually tomorrow night in Dallas when we get on the stage show, Steve Regal, Jeff Hardy, myself, Eric Bischoff, you can catch it on Fight live on Friday night. But if you buy it, you'll be able to watch it in your library on Fight. All you have to do is go to supershowlive.com. That's supershowlive.com. But that we get into stories, and we'll definitely get into tomorrow night, that how times have changed, but the core of our industry just like any sport. The object of the game in sports is to score. The object of the game in professional wrestling, you got to resonate, you got to communicate, you got to connect with your audience. And those fundamental basics, whether you're a Stone Cold or Rock or Hulkamania or Ric Flair or Dusty Rhodes or even an old Slapnuts fan, you have to connect with your audience. And that's fundamentally what it's about.
Well, talking about, I was watching Hogan and Piper back in 84, 85. I think it was 1985, and they were going at it. And that's back when, they were. You can't tell me they wasn't really fighting. And now you watch a wrestling match, and it's just like, hey, I'm gonna get on top of the top rope. And see, the psychology of it is, for me, when you get into the wrestling ring, it should be a fight. Because I know if I'm gonna fight, I'm not gonna sit there and do a 360 up in the air. But I guess you're right. We can't go back in time, but we do go back in time and watch old Slapnuts and WCW and NWA. I tell you right now, Jeff Jarrett, I watch you more now than I ever did when you was actually wrestling, because I love watching the King of the Mountain matches and that little scene you did with the funeral home and Total Nonstop Action. I don't think you remember.
Oh, I do. It's a funeral.
Yeah.
And Eric Young was the scene stealer, but Eric was most fun in Team Canada, and those were some really, really fun times.
All right, so before we let you go, I got one more question for you. Who of all time is your favorite opponent in the ring?
Joey, there's been so many of them. I could go down a list from Jerry Lawler to Kurt Hennig to Shawn Michaels, Scott Hall, Kurt Angle. Man, the list is really too long. It's different eras and different times and different kind of matches. So it's really hard to name one. Matter of fact, I don't name one. I leave that up to guys like you and let you decide and debate on
it. Well, I think, I don't know. Bret Hart was pretty good. But no, I think you was more of a AJ Styles. I think you and AJ Styles tore the house down a couple
There's
times.
another one.
And you and Sting. Okay, so look, we were running out of time. Jeff Jarrett, I could talk wrestling with you for another 5 hours, but you're a very busy man. Please, once again, will you please tell everybody where we can find that pay-per-view tomorrow night? Not tomorrow night, Thursday night.
It's Friday night. Yeah, so Friday night, April 1st. Don't be a fool. It's April 1st, April Fool's Day. Go to supershowlive.com. Supershowlive.com. Very, very simple. Check it out there. It's going to be powered by FITE, F-I-T-E, a streaming service, but that's the easiest. And all my social media handles, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, it's at Real Jeff Jarrett. So, Joey, dude, I appreciate having me on. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Jeff Jarrett, ladies and gentlemen, and we are out. All right. So, basically, what I learned from that interview was, if you want any answers, go to the Jeff Jarrett podcast, because as you could tell during the interview, all he did was refer me to the podcast. It was very cool talking to Jeff Jarrett. It was very cool. He's an icon. I liked him in TNA. It was somebody, I watched him many times live. So that was pretty cool.
And I'm just trying to figure out, Joe, for the Preston Vance interview, you throw RD out, and then now for Jeff Jarrett, you throw both of us out. I'm not following.
Rude.
Well, what happened was y'all was disagreeing with me about the during WrestleMania match with Shawn Michaels and Mick Foley and Stone Cold Steve Austin. When you get dressed up in your wrestling gear and you go down in the ring to fight, it may not be no referee, but
you said there was a referee.
I thought it was. Maybe it was. It could have been. I don't know. I gotta go watch the tape.
This reminds me of when my wife walks in and she's like, "You know what happened 5 years ago today?" And I'm like, "I have no idea." I mean, that's how I'm looking at you right now, man.
you met Joey from the CTS-Sports room.
Did
your life.
Does she say there was a referee there? Do you remember that? And then 5 minutes later, she says, "I never said anything about a referee."
Yeah.
Night 2. All right. Bobby Lashley versus the big, tall black guy. Almost.
Please tell me that is that his nickname, or did they rename him that?
How you say his name?
Omos.
Omos. Okay, Bobby Lashley versus Omos.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking Omos.
I think it's going to go to a 60-minute Broadway.
Jeremy.
You know what? This is probably the one match that I'm really torn on because it feels like they need to elevate Omos and give him a win. But at the same time, that would be quite the fall from grace for Bobby Lashley to have been the heavyweight champ, do the job at the Rumble, come back, and then do the job to somebody else. But that's what they do. So, I mean, I guess
and that's the thing. You know, one thing, you know, we were scheduled to have Paul White on the show, and he canceled on us. But I was going to ask him, why does it seem like, you know, and when Andre the Giant was wrestling, he went all over the country, and he was, if you can't beat Andre. I think Jerry Lawler was like the only guy that ever beat Andre the Giant before Hogan. And now you get these big giant guys, and they lose every match. But I mean, the Big Show lost every match he was in. The last 5 years he was in the WWE. And the Great Khali, I don't think he ever won a match. I really
won the world title multiple times, but
I think it was like one time, and that was like when he first came out. But then his last couple of years, he lost to everybody. I think he even lost to Rey Mysterio.
He danced. I remember that.
He is also the only wrestler my wife can name that's not a mainstream person, just because she always laughs at how he walks and then just hits. Ugh.
That was the best dramatic reenactment I've ever seen of any wrestler ever.
You
reenacting your wife reenacting the Great Khali. Please tell me that's like foreplay for you guys, because that is so hot.
Just nasty. RD, I mean, you're a wrestling historian, so tell me, why do you think WWE does that?
Why does the WWE beat giants? Because they don't. I mean, there are very few people what we would say protect. Okay. And I think that one that they do protect is Bobby Lashley. So I would not be shocked at all if Bobby Lashley actually won this, because they don't like him. They want to protect him. So I would actually I'm actually going to renege on saying that I'm going to have the 60-minute Broadway. And I'm going to say Bobby Lashley goes over in 2:45. 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Jeremy, you got Bobby Lashley too?
After hearing that, I've been persuaded. So don't put me on a jury.
Edge versus AJ Styles. I love AJ Styles. I want him to win every match, but I think they're going to give it to Edge.
I think they will give it to Edge too. I much prefer AJ Styles, but I have never been the world's biggest Edge fan. I'm that guy, the contrarian.
I was at World Rumble 2010 when he came back. I was so drunk. Even Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase ran past me, and Cody Rhodes, because I was in the hall, the little lane where they were running, they bumped into me, and I looked at my fiance, now wife, and I said, "Did you see?" But my fiance was so drunk that she was like, "Yeah."
We need more thrilling. I much prefer Jeremy's reenactment than yours. No offense.
Yeah. True story. We were staying at Omni because it was right there at the arena. I forgot the old name. What was it called now?
What city was this in?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, GA. Bad streets.
Phillips Arena. That's what it used to be called. And
I appreciated that joke, RD, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. I said thank you for his joke. Anyway, we went out that night to some jazz club, and we came back, and about 2 o'clock in the morning, in the lobby there was these fans with those played WWE belts. Well, I brought my play WWE belt too. Now I had this beautiful young lady going to the hotel room to, probably wrestle with me. But instead, I looked at my fiance and I said, "Can I go get my belt and play with these wrestling fans and show my belt off?" And she just kind of looked at me like, "Yeah, sure." I grabbed my belt, went down to the lobby, showed my World Championship belt off, and he had a spinner, and we all just gathered around and showed each other our belts and talked wrestling for like 2 hours. And while I was out of all of those guys, I was the only one that had a girl in their hotel room. But I decided to stay in the lobby.
Yeah.
Well,
Jeremy.
so if you want to know about AJ versus Edge, all I can say is if this isn't match of the night, I don't know what's going to happen otherwise. But so I anticipate this to be the most entertaining match of the night. RD, I want to defer to you because here's something I don't quite understand. We talked about Becky Lynch earlier, and now Edge. Probably the biggest draw, the biggest babyface on your roster for the ladies was Becky Lynch, and then for the guys was Edge.
Yes.
And they flip both of them.
Yes.
At a time when ratings are plummeting.
Yes.
Why?
They don't know what they're doing. Thank you.
Okay.
So who you got, Jeremy? AJ or Edge?
I don't know. AJ, sure.
All right. Celebrity match. Anything goes match. I just saw Jackass Forever just before we came on.
Okay.
Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn. Celebrity always wins. I got Johnny Knoxville.
I will also go with Mr. Knoxville.
Jeremy?
And I am going to three-peat that and then even give you the finish. It'll be something to do with some crazy stunt they've done in their movies. So I'm going Johnny Knoxville by way of beehive to the penis.
Oh, I like it.
You saw the movie. You saw the movie too. I laughed off.
I heard about it. I didn't see it.
Call on the spot. I love it. I'd like to think they call that in the ring. Hold on. I'm going to go get the beehive.
Have you seen the movie yet?
No, I have not seen the movie.
Go get Paramount Plus and watch it. You'll love it.
Okay.
After everything I said tonight, I don't think you're going to take any of my opinions.
I don't know. You said a beehive to the groin. I mean, that's
No, he said it. I said it was funny.
But what isn't that what happened?
I had not even told you. I've not told Jeremy hasn't told you, and I haven't told you about the penis lizard that destroyed the town in the beginning.
You just did.
I've not even seen the movie, so that's total coincidence.
I thought you said you seen it.
Well, go get Paramount Plus, buddy. Pat McAfee, former Indianapolis Colt.
He was a kicker. Nobody cares.
Not to be confused with the idiot kicker, as Peyton Manning would say.
Not to be confused. No, not to be confused with Mike Vanderjagt. No, not the drunk idiot kicker from Canada. No. This was the drunk punter that was fished out of the out of a creek. I think it was his rookie year or his second year with the Colts. So yes.
Who you? All right, I got Pat. Jeremy, who you got?
I think it's the time to build Austin Theory. He's going to go over here. Plus, if you ever been in a small town, Joe, here's the thing. Some dude's going to call and threaten to beat you up, and he's going to be like, "I'm on the football team." And you're like, "Really? I don't recognize your name." And he's like, "I'm the punter." And you're like, "Bro, you're the punter?" So I'm going with Austin Theory for that reason.
Hey, Pat McAfee will tell you that he had 27 tackles in his NFL career.
Yeah, and I'm sure he could beat me up easily. So I'm just putting that out there in case he happens to see this. I am not challenging you, Pat.
I mean, he did beat Adam Cole, so
that
says something.
Yes, sir.
Okay. RD, I take it you taking Austin Theory?
I am taking hometown
Oh.
proud, and I don't mean America's IGA. I'm taking Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee will be going places in this company.
Okay.
For better or worse. I don't know
match,
which.
Women's wrestling. So this is the last match.
I
for me.
swear I thought you said I don't care about gremlins. You said you don't care about women.
RK Bro.
You should care about Gremlins. Oh, that was such a good movie with Gizmo. Is that on Paramount Plus too?
Yeah.
Because that would sell me. If we could do a Gremlins and then Jackass Forever double feature.
Hulk Hogan was in Gremlins too, so there you go.
Yes, he was.
Look at you.
Mm-hmm.
RK.
I softballed that right to you. I knew you'd go there.
I love you, RD, man. You the man. RK Bro versus the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy. Who y'all got?
RK Bro. Although there will be problems and they will break up.
Yeah, I see it coming. I got the Street Profits. Who you got, Jeremy?
I'm anticipating RK Bro as well. All I will say is, okay, Alpha Academy, they're sort of like the unnecessary part of this entire equation. Why are they there? It's like they are the Will Smith of the match. There's no reason for you to be out there.
Once again, you got Shinsuke Nakamura, you got Randy Orton, and I mean, two top stars, two bad that should be in the WWE World Championship picture, but they're playing with a guy who plays the guitar and the other guy who rides a skateboard and got kicked out of UFC for doing drugs. I just don't understand what's going on with the WWE. Why is it's like, why is Randy Orton not in the WWE Championship picture? Why is Shinsuke Nakamura not fighting 5-star matches with AJ Styles and Edge? And I don't understand what's going on. I guess that's why you don't watch WWE, Jeremy.
Well, yeah, I don't know what else to say to that. I find myself scratching my head a lot when I watch WWE, and their new streaming platform seems to freeze up at every pay-per-view. So I'm like, I'm not even paying $5 for this anymore.
Something to look forward to, kids.
Main event: Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. I got Brock Lesnar. Who you got, RD?
Roman Reigns, because they always have Roman Reigns. Try and be Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Give you that WrestleMania moment where you have the guy that looks like this.
Jeremy, who you got?
This is sort of the America's Got Talent moment of the night where, if you ever notice, the judges are always saying, show us something we've never seen before. So we get Brock versus Roman. Never seen it before. And I'm going Roman simply because I think, RD, as you mentioned earlier, guys, they got to protect always. I think they're trying to make Roman sort of the next big mega star of this company. So I think Roman.
So Brock Lesnar did say that he's going to have custody of the new championship belt. They're going to have a baby or something anyway. What do you think the new belt's going to look like?
Wait. The Brock Lesnar's having a baby that's a belt?
No, you stop it right now. It wasn't me. Brock Lesnar went on Raw and said that the World Championship belt and the Universal Championship belt are going to have a baby, and he's going to take custody of it.
Okay.
So obviously, I'm thinking they're making a new belt. So my question to you two, what is the new belt going to look like?
I was thinking of, whenever you were saying they were going to have this is what I heard. And I understand you did not say this, but whenever you were saying that they were going to have a baby that was a belt, I was thinking back to whenever you said that you went to this Royal Rumble or whatever you were at, and you had your girl that you could have gone upstairs with, and you had your belt. I was expecting that 9 months later she would give birth to a belt somehow.
He does a podcast with Vince Russo and doesn't make fun of him. But yeah, he does one show with me.
This is the second one I've done, so I'm allowed to.
Third. This is the
Third. I make fun of Russo all the time.
Oh, okay.
I'm allowed to do that. We're friends.
This is so Jeremy, you got Roman Reigns, you said?
Yes.
And RD, you got
Roman Reigns, head of the table.
I'm the only one that got Brock Lesnar. So what's the new belt going to look like?
Well, hang on. You cut off a thought of RD, and I wanted to catch it because RD, I'd mentioned they're going to, they're trying to make Roman the next big megastar.
Mm-hmm.
And then you started to say something like you had some thought. Do you recall?
Well, 10th time's the charm is what I always like to say at WrestleMania. So, eventually they'll just keep trying. Eventually we get it.
Does anybody know what the belt is going to look like? Is it, because I don't know if y'all know this, New Japan made a new belt. It's ugly. I was like, you just had like the greatest looking belt of all time, and you now got this piece of crap thing, and they act like it's like gorgeous. What do you think the new belt's going to look like?
I think they're going to bring back the Divas title that looked like a butterfly.
Mm-hmm.
That was very nice.
Are they going to have anything that looks like Hulkamania?
You know what? I was kind of thinking of the famous winged eagle belt, except they removed the eagle, and it's just like the bust portrait of Roman. That's the belt.
Wow.
Spinning Roman.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Remember the spinner belt? Why do we not have that anymore?
No. Hey, that damn belt was heavy as hell.
Mm-hmm.
We held that when I went to Wrestlemania in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I held it before I took the picture. I had my stepson with me, so I had to give him the belt to take the picture with.
Right.
Even though he didn't give two craps about being there. But I said, look, I've never held a world championship belt before. I want to hold it. And I held it. It was like picking up two concrete bricks. I was like, good Lord, this thing is heavy. So we took the picture and everything. And I was sitting there like, man, how do they wear that around their waist?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's got to be the heaviest thing in the world.
Well, I don't know.
Make fun of that question for me.
If you've ever noticed the man that had the spinner belt, I believe his name was John Cena. He's in pretty good physical shape. I think he may have lifted a weight once or twice, and he could probably carry that belt. Okay. He could probably carry 3 refrigerators on his back too. So,
well, he carried a lot of people in his career. Okay, but before we go, we heard the predictions. I take it. I have my last question to both of you guys. What do you think this WrestleMania is going to be remembered for? Yeah, exactly. I see both of y'all just thinking.
I'm going to go a legitimate shoot Shane McMahon invasion.
Oh, boy. I mean, if you know what? I like to think when you say invasion, it's just he finds something very tall to just fall off of and land on someone. Yeah. Okay. You know what I think it's going to be remembered for? And this is, I'm not being funny. I'm not being whatever. Okay. It's not hard for me not to be funny. Okay. I think this will happen. I think some way, somehow, Triple H will make an appearance, and that's what everybody will remember because, the guy was almost legitimately died. I think he will make an appearance, and that's all anybody will be talking about the next day. However he looks, whatever condition he's in, the fact that he is there, it may not even be there. It may just be on video, but I think he will make an appearance. I think that's all anybody will talk about.
All right. So let's go ahead and I told RD, I said, we're not going to go an hour. I got 2 interviews already in the can. And RD's like, cool, I can't go an hour. I got to go call Vince.
I have nothing. I have nothing to talk about for an hour. You guys should know this. I got to go call Vince Russo, my best friend, and talk about Nitro from November 2000 and talk about how great of a show it was and how we didn't have no matches on there because wrestling matches are not important. Because it's fake, bro.
But
Did you?
anyway,
We could talk that 70s guy. He was on the Partridge Family bus.
yeah, we can talk about Mike Awesome. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was your boys idea. Killed
Did
Mike
I?
Awesome's career.
Did they got him the Partridge Family bus? Here's a little fun fact for you. They got him the Partridge Family bus so he could show up. And one day, whenever they had that, Russo and Ed Ferrara, the other writer, just decided to go joyriding in it.
For real?
Yeah, legit.
That's probably the one cool thing I ever heard Vince Russo ever did.
Oh
True story.
yeah, you just want to badmouth Vince Russo, and then
And
you
he
hear
actually did something cool.
he stole the Partridge Family bus. Now he's he's the Fonzie of this show.
Like, okay. RD Reynolds, tell everybody where we can find you.
WrestleCrap.com.
About
Hey,
social media.
Go buy this fine book, Death of WCW. Available in finer booksellers everywhere because the crummier ones won't carry it.
Hey, true story. I read that book and
Yeah.
somebody bashed Vince Russo all in that book.
I don't recall that.
Any social media you want to share?
WrestleCrap RD on Twitter and on Old Man social media, which is Facebook. And you would enjoy this every Wednesday night when Dynamite airs. I do a live running commentary on Facebook with all my Facebook friends, and we all make fun of different things on the show or say, this is good, this is bad, that was really stupid. And we do that for 2 hours every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Jeremy, tell everybody where we can find you. Tell everybody about the book. Tell everybody about the podcast, and tell everybody about the comedy special you can find on Amazon Prime.
Okay, so the book is You Can't Write City Hall, about my hilarious real-life experience as a small-town mayor, retelling the whole thing, hit #1 on the Amazon political humor charts. So You Can't Write City Hall. And then my stand-up special is on Amazon Prime, Who's With Me. If you search my name, you'll find it. And I get $1 every time somebody downloads it. So if you're on a tablet, just hit refresh numerous times, please.
I've been doing this YouTube channel for almost 2 years now, and this has got to be the funnest episode I ever did in my entire life. All because I stutter and I cannot pronounce names, but RD Reynolds and Jeremy Nunez basically made this the funnest night of CTS Sports Room. I appreciate both of y'all coming on, and I hope we can do it again. I know RD do it again. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, check out Jeremy Nunez on Amazon. Check out WrestleCrap.com, and we are out. Yes, actually, it was a match.
It was
YouTube
not
it
a
right now. It was something.
It was not a match.
That was something. I think
I don't
It
remember
may have
this
been something.
at
It
all.
was not a match.
you even know what I'm talking about?
I know he came out and he kicked someone and gave them a stunner.
You don't remember Mick Foley and Shawn Michaels being the part
That
of
was
it?
that was not a match. Just saying.
Okay.
It's okay.
Well, this won't be a match.
Okay,
either,
we're
but
all friends here.
But no, they act like this is okay. This ain't gonna be a match either. But
Mhm.
they're treating it like he hasn't been in WWE for the last 20 years.